Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you Kamen Rider Build Episode 6. Sorry, sorry. Still waking up. So, I wanted to do this episode a little bit earlier, but I had to end up taking an extra shift at work, and all sorts of other stuff kind of came up, so I'm doing this now. Don't worry, tomorrow I'm going to try and get to DuckTales for you guys. So, just hang tight, and DuckTales will definitely be out. I'd usually try to do DuckTales first, just because DuckTales is easier for me to talk about. Because Kamen Rider Build seems to have this storytelling ability where it's about it has all this stuff happening, and then I just kind of ramble because I'm trying to talk about everything that happens, because the episodes are really trying to push all sorts of storytelling stuff. But anyway, it was just easier for me to get build up on my computer this morning than going and watching DuckTales on on-demand on my cable provider. But anyway, so Kamen Rider Build this episode, we start to see that Ryuga and Sento are going to start have like a fight between each other. Ryuga basically getting frustrated with the fact that Sento hasn't really done much to find his own name, and also, has to realize that Sento is all, just as frustrated as he is, because probably even more so, because he's trying to find his own, memories and stuff, and it kind of caused them to both get into a fight where they use full bottles to beat each other up. But then, but this does lead into Ryuga trying to use the build driver, and in doing so, actually ends up knocking him out for like a full day because of the feedback. Proving basically that only Sento can use the build driver, which is pretty common in modern Heisei riders. That of the main belt can only be used by the main rider, because it's somehow connected to like his DNA or something like that, or like his body is the only one that can handle the amount of power or strain it does to the body, stuff like that. So meanwhile, Sento it's the research center and finds out that the gas they're using that Faust is using to create smashes is in fact coming from the skywall due to this chemical known as nebula gas, which, as we find out, is a trap. And we find out that Faust and the Prime Minister of Toto are in cahoots, or at least him and Bloodstark are. We find that out at the very end of the episode, but anyways. And so, basically, Sento finally finds a way to discover Faust, or at least one of their hideouts, and uses it to try and find any sort of information on whether or not Ryuga is or if they could find whoever set up Ryuga by killing that professor. But yeah, and we also get to see, why, probably one of the bigger weaknesses of Sento in this episode, and why one of the reasons why Ryuga eventually, apologizes and makes nice with Sento, that of the fact that Sento, acts as kind and as nice as he does, but only because he's trying to act like the person he wants to be. He has no memories of what he was like before, hence why Tatsuya was so important to him. He wants to be a good person no matter what, because if he can't find his own memories, he can, be the person he wants to be in the hopes that he can make up for that. But when tempted with the ability to find his memories, he goes berserk and goes on a rampage. We see that particularly when he fights Bloodstark at the end of this, when Bloodstark basically points out, yeah, this is where you lost your memories and stuff, and instead of rescuing the hostages, starts going berserk and beats the ever-loving crap out of Bloodstark, at least until Bloodstark uses his gun to knock Sento out of his form. We also see the beginnings of what will eventually become Kamen Rider Claws with or Close. I think it's really Claws or Cross. The scans call him Cross, but I kind of think it makes more sense that he's called Claws. But just because that might be the Japanese L instead of the R. But I don't know. So I think I'll go with Cross just because that's what I've seen in the scans for the toys. So yeah, Kamen Rider Cross gets a little bit of a day, or at least one of the parts needed to make him, with this little robot dragon that Sento uses to keep an eye on. Oh, that's a great thing to do in a blog. Yawn. Yeah, he creates a little robot dragon that I think will eventually become the dragon adapter he needs to use the build driver. Anyway. And so, they find all this out, and, they rescue Tatsuya, who almost explodes, but, Build's able to use, the powers of Nin and Comic to, extract the Smash Essence, as well as, rescue Tatsuya. And we learn at the very end that Tatsuya actually sent Sento to Katsuраgi's lab an hour before Ryuga did, which means that perhaps Sento killed Katsuragi. I doubt he actually did. I almost wonder if this is all set up, that Katsuragi isn't dead, that perhaps maybe he in fact is Bloodstark, or there's some other nefarious thing happening. Oh yeah, we also learned that the reason Sento and Ryuga are so interesting to Bloodstark and Faust in general is that they were injected with a huge dose of nebula gas but didn't turn into smashes. In fact, Sento can become a Kamen Rider because of that, and Ryuga is developing the potential to become a Kamen Rider, when, you know, he will become a Kamen Rider due to that as well. But yeah, a lot of this was mostly just set up for stuff that'll come into play later, which is fine, because we've had a lot of mystery and setup, but like this here was actually really good setup in my opinion. The episode was really good. I actually like seeing Sento get frustrated, and but Ryuga was the one who, you know, told him to, you know, chill out, and, you know, helped him get his priorities back in order. It was kind of nice seeing the dynamic between the two of them finally kind of start being more friendly than just... I mean, granted, they've been building this friendship up mostly like through every episode, but I think this is where we get really that, like, Sento, or Ryuga, is probably the closest thing Sento has to a friend after losing his memories, and I think their relationship's going to be put to the test a little bit here now that they think that Sento set Ryuga up for killing Katsuragi. I don't think that's the case, especially with the way this show likes to throw mysteries out there. I really think that there's something more to it. Sorry. Then Ryuga being or then Sento killing Katsuragi. I think whatever's going on is going to be a lot more interesting than we think it will be. So we also got to see all of Nin Comics panel abilities on his sword. In the previous episode, we saw his ability to split into clones, the fire panel, and we also see that now there's a wind panel and a smoke panel that allows him to... It's basically a smoke bomb that allows him to run away, called camouflage panel. and the wind panel, which is called Tatsumaki panel, which is yet another One Piece reference in this show. We had Hot Gatling, which is clearly a reference to Luffy's hot gum hot Gatling. So this and Tatsumaki is clearly a reference to Zoro's three sword style Tatsumaki. It even makes a tornado. I'm calling it. I'm calling the One Piece references in this. I may be wrong, but I don't care. Toei makes the anime for One Piece, so I'm calling these references. You cannot stop me. but anyway, it was a good episode. There's a lot that happened, and I think we're finally going to start maybe getting some of these mysteries answered. Probably not a lot of them. Probably like a few small ones. Like I think we might finally get to see what's going on with Katsuragi, because I don't think they can keep hiding this for like the entire series. I feel like come like in the early 10s or maybe the late teens, we're going to see what's going on with the murder with Katsuragi. But otherwise, it was a good episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. This has been so far, build's been really good. And I hope they can keep this pace up. So until the next episode, guys, this is Zangetsu 134. I'll see you all tomorrow with DuckTales.